Have you ever stopped to wonder if what you see in the mirror is truly who you are? Every day, we look at ourselves, recognize our faces, and identify with our bodies and emotions. But what if all of this was nothing more than an illusion? A temporary mask, a fragile shell covering something far greater, something deeper and eternal. What exists beyond the skin that wraps your body? What lies behind the thoughts you call I? From an early age, we are taught to believe that our identity is firmly tied to our physical form. We believe we are this body, these emotions that flood through us, and even the thoughts that constantly pass through our minds. But this perception is limited. It keeps us trapped in a fleeting existence, preventing us from seeing the essential truth. We are so much more than what our eyes can see or our hands can touch. No matter how solid or familiar it may seem, the body is just a tool, a temporary garment, something we wear for a brief journey called life. But who are you beyond the body? Who is the one who feels, perceives, and observes the constant flow of emotions and thoughts without being consumed by them? That you doesn't age, it doesn't disappear, it doesn't dissolve over time. That you, the one many call the soul, is your immortal essence, the part of you that transcends time, space, and the limitations of matter. But what if, for a moment, you could detach yourself from this physical identity? If you could silence all the voices that insist you are nothing more than a body walking through the world, what would remain? Close your eyes and imagine that this body is like a piece of clothing you were given at birth, a garment that one day you will inevitably have to leave behind. You are not the clothing, you are not the body, you are the consciousness that wears it. And when you begin to question this reality, you open yourself to a new horizon, a new perception of existence. You begin to realize that the life you are living right now is not all there is. It is only a fraction of what you truly are. I remember the story of Mariana, a woman who went through an experience that completely changed the way she saw life. For years, she believed her identity was tied to her appearance and how others perceived her. But everything changed when she faced a severe illness. She found herself in a hospital, weakened, unable to move as she once could. The reflection in the mirror no longer looked the same. Her body had changed, her strength had faded. It was in that moment, at the peak of her vulnerability, that Mariana realized something she had never truly understood. She was not her body. The light in her eyes, the depth of her emotions, the intensity of her love for the people around her, none of that had changed. It was still there, untouched. Her illness made her see that beyond appearance, there was something much greater, something indestructible. That experience transformed her life. Today, Mariana says she has learned to see herself beyond the reflection in the mirror. She has learned that her essence is far greater than a fleeting physical form. And when she embraced this truth, she felt free for the first time. The body is temporary. It is subject to the laws of time and space, to pain and the limitations of the physical world. But you are not. The true you is the consciousness that inhabits this form, and fully understanding this can transform your life in ways you may have never imagined. Today, I want to invite you on a different kind of journey, a journey of discovery and expanded awareness. For just a moment, I ask you to open your mind and your heart to a new perspective, the realization that you are not just what you see, what you feel, or what you think. You are something far greater, something without borders, without a beginning, without an end. And when we begin to see life through this lens, everything changes. We start to realize that the body, the mind, and even the reality around us are not the final destination. They are just fragments of a much larger and eternal experience. In our daily lives, it's easy to get lost in the illusion that we are only physical matter. Every pain we feel, every intense emotion, every moment of joy or suffering seems to affirm, "This is who I am." But is it really? If we look more closely, we begin to see that no matter how real it seems, the body is just a vessel, a tool the soul uses to interact with the physical world. Just like a traveler needs a ship to cross the ocean, the soul needs the body to navigate this earthly experience. But what happens when we stop identifying solely with this vessel? What do we discover when we stop seeing ourselves as a limited body and start recognizing the vastness of our true essence? Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had an experience that made you see life differently? A moment when you realized you were much more than just a body? Share your story in the comments. I love reading and getting to know each of you. Just as a traveler needs a ship to cross the ocean, the soul uses the body as a vehicle to journey through earthly existence. But why do we cling so tightly to something so temporary? Why do we identify so strongly with something that is inevitably destined to change, weaken, and fade away? From the moment we are born, we are taught to believe that the body is all we are. We feel hunger, cold, pain, and pleasure, and each of these experiences reinforces the idea that we are just this physical matter that we see reflected in the mirror. Emotions, thoughts, and physical sensations shape our perception of self, creating the illusion that our identity is confined to this physical form. But are we really just that? The body is simply an interface, a bridge between the immaterial and the tangible, but that's all it is, a means, not an end. On the spiritual journey, understanding that the body is temporary is one of the first steps toward transcending this limited identity. It is an essential tool for experiencing the material world, giving the soul the opportunity to grow, evolve, and learn. But when we become too attached to our physical identity, we risk disconnecting from our true essence. Blind identification with the body, with thoughts and with emotions, clouds the vision of the soul. It keeps us trapped in a cycle where we believe we are only what we feel, only what we think, only what our body allows us to do. And in this way, we limit ourselves. We close doors to a much greater perception of reality. Think of the body as a garment you wear and change throughout many lifetimes. It allows you to experience the physical world, but just like clothes that once felt new and fresh, yet eventually wear out, the body also ages, changes, and inevitably must be left behind. With each new incarnation, the soul receives a new body, a new chance, a new chapter to continue its journey of learning and transformation. But the soul never changes. It is immutable, eternal, beyond time and space. We cling to the body because it is tangible. We can see it, touch it, feel it. The rational mind seeks comfort in what is concrete, in what can be explained and understood through the senses. Thoughts, emotions, and sensations intertwine so intensely that they create a convincing narrative. I am sad. I am angry. I am happy. But what if these emotions were not who you really are? What is sadness, anger, or joy if not temporary states of an equally temporary vessel? Just as a car carries a traveler from one place to another, but is not the traveler itself, the body and its emotions are merely momentary tools in the soul's journey. They come and go, but the consciousness that observes them, that part of you that remains aware, is unchanging. Our greatest challenge is recognizing that identifying with the body can limit us. When we believe we are only this physical structure, we close our eyes to our true nature. We begin to see the world solely through the lens of the senses, unaware that there is something far greater beyond them. And in doing so, we become prisoners of a reality that is merely a fragment of what we truly are. But what if you could see beyond? Understanding that the body is just a vehicle completely transforms how we live. Suddenly, concerns about appearance, physical limitations, and material struggles are no longer the center of our existence. Life becomes an extraordinary opportunity for the soul to grow, learn, and expand. The body is not the end. It is a means, an instrument that the soul uses to experience the physical world, but always with the awareness that there is something beyond, something much greater. As we move forward on this journey, we begin to realize that the true self is not what we feel through the senses, nor the emotions that pass through us, nor the thoughts that come and go like waves in the ocean. The true self is something far deeper. It does not change with time, does not get lost in the pains of the body, and does not get caught in the noise of the mind. It is the silent presence that observes everything, feeling without attachment, experiencing without limitation. But then an inevitable question arises. If I am not the body, then who am I? This is a question that has the power to completely change the way we live and perceive reality. The answer is not found in external things, nor in the definitions that have been given to us throughout life. The answer lies within you, within the essence of your true nature. You are the soul. A pure, eternal consciousness with no beginning and no end. In other words, while the body is temporary, the soul is infinite. While the body is born, grows, and eventually fades away, the soul remains. It does not wear out with time, does not age with the years, and does not disappear with death. The soul, in its purest form, is a field of consciousness, formless, ageless, limitless. It simply is. Since ancient times, different spiritual traditions have tried to explain this immortal essence that resides within each of us. In ancient Egypt, it was believed that the soul, or Ka, was the vital principle that transcended physical death, continuing its journey into the afterlife. In Hinduism, the concept of Atman defines the soul as the true self, an eternal essence that exists beyond matter and mind, directly connected to the universe. The Atman is like a drop of water in an infinite ocean, at once part of the whole, while also containing the whole within itself. Buddhism, on the other hand, teaches about the state of enlightenment where the ego dissolves, and pure consciousness is experienced without the limitations of the body or the mind. These traditions, along with many others around the world, remind us of one essential truth. The soul is beyond time, beyond space, beyond any concept we try to impose upon it. But can we truly perceive this in our daily lives? Think about it. Have you ever found yourself observing your own thoughts? Have you ever noticed an emotion rising within you and instead of being consumed by it, simply acknowledged its presence? That observer within you, the one who notices your thoughts, your emotions, and all the changes happening in your body, that is pure consciousness, and that observer never changes even when life does. It is there when you laugh and when you cry. It is present in moments of joy and in moments of pain. It remains unchanged, even as everything around you is constantly transforming. Recognizing yourself as this pure consciousness, as this soul, is what allows you to expand your perception of what it truly means to live. Because when we see ourselves as only a body, we limit ourselves. We become trapped in the fear of death, in the weight of struggles, and in the instability of the material world. But when we understand that we are so much more than that, we experience a kind of freedom that once seemed impossible. And when we recognize ourselves as the soul, something extraordinary happens. We experience true freedom. The barriers of time and space disappear. There are no more limits because we come to understand that our essence can never be confined. The years pass. One life follows another, but the soul remains intact, unchanging, eternal. This shift in perception changes everything. What once seemed like an overwhelming problem becomes nothing more than a temporary experience. The burdens of everyday life, the worries that once seemed so immense, begin to lose their weight. And suddenly, everything becomes clear. We are here by choice. Every moment, every challenge, every emotion is part of a temporary experience that our soul has chosen to live. The soul is here to observe, to feel, to experience. But it is not bound by any of it. And when you begin to identify with this limitless nature, something within you expands. A new world opens up. Anxiety gives way to peace. Confusion dissolves into clarity. Illusion fades in the realization that you are so much more than what you see in the mirror. This recognition that you are a soul, not just a body, is the first step toward true liberation. Because when you realize that you are no longer confined by the limitations of the body, the mind, or your circumstances, you begin to live from a different state of being. A state of expanded consciousness, where anything is possible. You no longer operate from fear or scarcity, but from your true essence, limitless, immortal, eternal. And then an inevitable question arises. If I am immortal, what happens beyond this life? The answer leads us to a profound idea, one as old as humanity itself: reincarnation. Reincarnation reveals that the life we are living right now is just one chapter in a much greater story. A story that unfolds far beyond what our eyes can see or our memory can recall. But reincarnation is not simply about being born and dying over and over again. Reincarnation is a process of evolution. With each new life, the soul gains experiences, faces unique challenges, and learns essential lessons. Nothing happens by chance. Every encounter, every moment of joy, every moment of pain is part of a greater plan, carefully designed for the growth of the spirit. But why must the soul go through so many lives? Why don't we learn everything all at once? The answer lies in the challenges that each incarnation brings. Physical life is like a training ground for the soul. It is a place where learning happens through contrast, light and darkness, joy and sorrow, success and failure, love and loss. Each of these opposites plays an essential role in our evolution. Think about it. A muscle only grows stronger when it encounters resistance. In the same way, the soul can only expand when it faces challenges. It is through difficulties that we learn patience. It is through pain that we develop compassion. It is through uncertainty that we cultivate faith. And if you look back at your own life, you'll notice something interesting. The hardest moments were the ones that transformed you the most. In one life, a soul may be learning about patience. In another, about forgiveness. And in some lives, it may simply be experiencing the beauty of existence, the fullness of inner peace. Each lifetime brings a lesson, a piece of the larger puzzle of spiritual evolution. Nothing happens by chance. Everything we experience, from the brightest moments of joy to the darkest moments of pain, has a purpose. Each encounter, each experience carries an opportunity for growth. And very often, it is in the most painful challenges that we find our greatest leaps in consciousness. The soul's journey is not linear, it is an ascending spiral. With every incarnation, the soul brings with it the wisdom gained from past lives. Even if our conscious mind does not have direct access to these memories, their essence remains deeply imprinted in the spirit. This wisdom shapes our choices, influences our reactions, and guides us, even when we don't realize it. Have you ever felt an inexplicable connection to something? A talent that comes naturally? Or even a fear you can't quite explain? These traits may be echoes of experiences your soul has already lived. Across different cultures, spiritual traditions speak of this cycle of reincarnation and its role in the soul's growth. In Hinduism, there is the concept of samsara, the continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth that only ends when the soul reaches enlightenment. In Buddhism, reincarnation is also present, but with a focus on karma, where our actions and intentions shape the lessons and challenges of our future lives. Other traditions suggest that each reincarnation is a chance for redemption and evolution, an opportunity to correct past mistakes, recover lost wisdom, and develop virtues we have yet to cultivate. But they all agree on one essential truth: this is not our first life, and it probably won't be our last. The soul keeps returning life after life until it reaches its full spiritual realization. Each existence is a new chapter in this endless story, and in every single one, new challenges, experiences, and encounters emerge, each leading us to a new level of understanding. The most fascinating part: even though every life is different, there is an invisible thread that connects them all: spiritual learning. We are not here by chance. Our path is not random. Before we are born, our soul already knows what experiences await us. Even when challenges feel unbearable in this lifetime, each one was chosen with a higher purpose: to transform us, elevate us, and bring us closer to our purest essence. This cycle of rebirth should not be feared. It should be embraced, because when we understand that every life is an opportunity for growth, we begin to view our struggles in a new light. The difficulties of life become lighter when we realize they are part of something much greater: the journey of the soul's evolution. Every obstacle strengthens us. Every loss teaches us. Every victory brings us closer to spiritual awakening. And as this evolution unfolds, something within us expands. We begin to recognize our true nature: limitless, eternal, infinite. There is deep wisdom in understanding that life's challenges are not obstacles on the spiritual path. They are the path itself. When we face loss, failure, or illness, our initial reaction is often pain, resistance, or even anger. But when we shift our perspective to that of the soul, we realize that behind the pain lies an invitation for greater growth. The soul is being called to expand, to develop patience, to cultivate compassion, to strengthen resilience. And these are the very qualities that transform us. Think about the hardest moments you've faced in life. How many times, after the storm, did you emerge stronger, wiser, with a clearer vision of life? These moments push us beyond the surface, beyond the automatic responses of the mind and body. They force us to dive into the depths of our soul, and that is where we find our true strength. Life is a cycle, an eternal movement of highs and lows. We cannot escape this flow, but we can learn to navigate it with greater awareness and wisdom. And when we begin to see each challenge from this new perspective, something shifts within us. Obstacles are no longer enemies, they become teachers. Instead of limiting us, they propel us forward. Instead of weakening us, they awaken us. Life's challenges do not just strengthen the soul, they also connect us to something much greater: the universal life force. This energy, present in all of creation, is what sustains and nourishes the soul throughout its journey. And it is precisely in the most difficult moments that this connection becomes strongest. Pain, loss, fear, these can feel overwhelming at first. But when we move through these experiences with awareness, something extraordinary happens. The barriers that separate us from this energy begin to dissolve. It's as if each challenge breaks the chains of illusion, allowing the life force to flow freely through us. Taoism teaches that balance between yin and yang, the opposing forces of life, is what creates harmony and growth. Without darkness, light cannot be seen. Without challenges, the soul has no opportunity to expand. And when we truly understand this, something shifts within us. We begin to accept that every difficulty is part of our path, and instead of resisting, we learn to embrace them. We become more aware of our own evolution. Every obstacle we overcome not only makes us stronger, but also brings greater clarity to our purpose. Suffering teaches empathy, loss teaches detachment, Uncertainty teaches trust. These are lessons that only challenges can provide, and they are what bring us closer and closer to the truth of who we really are. So instead of fearing difficulties, try to see them as guides on your journey. Know that with every challenge you overcome, you are strengthening your connection with your soul and with the universe. But this journey goes beyond what we can see or touch. The soul is not confined by space and time like the body is. It transcends these barriers, existing simultaneously in the physical world and the spiritual realm. This means that while we go about our daily routines, parts of our essence may be connected to realities beyond what our physical senses can perceive. Have you ever felt that something was strangely familiar, even though you had never experienced it before? Have you ever had an unexplainable connection to a place, a person, or a moment? This happens because our physical existence is just a reflection of something much greater. Our consciousness extends beyond matter, allowing us to be part of a spiritual reality that influences and shapes who we are. And this knowledge, once deeply understood, changes everything. Because realizing that we are multi-dimensional souls is just the first step. The real challenge is living every single day with that awareness. When we stop seeing ourselves as mere temporary bodies and start recognizing ourselves as immortal souls, our perception of life completely transforms. The weight of daily worries fades away. The fear of death dissolves. What once seemed impossible becomes just another passing experience within something far greater. On this journey, spiritual practices like meditation and mindfulness become essential. They help us reconnect with our true essence, quieting the mind and silencing the distractions of the body. And suddenly, life in the present moment becomes a field of infinite possibilities. Every moment takes on a deeper meaning, and with that, we realize that true power is not in controlling external circumstances, but in our ability to observe, choose, and act from the stillness of the soul, rather than the turbulence of the body. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a moment where you felt connected to something greater? A moment when you realized you were more than just a body? Tell me in the comments. If this message resonated with you, like this video and subscribe to the channel to continue this journey with me. And share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Thank you for being here. Take care and see you soon. And see you. Now, as we reach the end of this revealing expedition, I want to express my deepest gratitude to you for staying with us until the end. Your dedication and curiosity are the fuel that drives us to explore, demystify, and share these intriguing stories. I want to share something special with you. As a fan of the Map of Higher Self channel, you are about to embark on a unique journey of self-discovery and mental formation. I present to you the Map of Higher Self, a revolutionary ebook that will redefine your mental reality. As the creator of this content and leader of the Map of Higher Self channel, I'm sharing my deepest experiences and valuable lessons with you. Each chapter of this ebook is a reflection of my journey, filled with practical lessons I've lived and transformed into wisdom. Don't miss this opportunity to transform your life. Click the link in the pinned comment and start your journey towards self-knowledge and positivity today. Imagine yourself for a moment as one of the ancient explorers who ventured into unknown territories, guided only by the flame of curiosity and the thirst for knowledge. Every piece of information, every symbol deciphered, is like a map leading us deeper into the labyrinth of the unknown. And just like those explorers, you too are now a little closer to the truth, carrying with you a new understanding of the forces that shape our world. Your presence here is not just a personal achievement, but a valuable contribution to a vibrant community of curious and knowledge-seeking individuals. Every view, every comment, every like is a step we take together toward a deeper and collective understanding. You are not just a spectator, you are a partner in this journey of discovery. So, as we close this chapter, I invite you to reflect on today's revelations and prepare for the next steps. We will continue unraveling secrets, questioning established truths, and exploring the mysteries around us. Your participation is essential, not just for the growth of this channel, but for the expansion of our horizon of knowledge. Until the next discovery. And remember, the real power lies in questioning and understanding what is beyond the visible. And before you go, don't miss these 2 videos I've selected especially for you. They're packed with deep knowledge and fascinating discoveries that you'll love. Click on one of them and continue your journey of self-discovery and the pursuit of wisdom with the amazing content our channel has to offer.